The Olympic Games are often defined by their official motto, Citius Altius Fortius Communiter, which you probably know better as faster, higher, stronger, together. It's important to note that the concept of togetherness was only introduced to the motto in 2021. It wasn't present during the 1936 Games. The Olympic rings have become a powerful symbol of the Games, representing the unions of the 5 inhabited continents of Africa, the Americas, Asia, Europe and Oceania. It's also supposed to represent the coming together of athletes from all over the world. The 5 interlocking rings are intended to signify global unity, and the 6 colours used in the flag were chosen because they appeared in every national flag at the time that the symbol was created. On the surface, this imagery presents an inclusive and unified vision. Strange then, that amidst the backdrop of intensifying global instability, under the shadow of some of Europe's most notorious regimes, the International Olympic Committee chose Nazi Germany to host the 1936 Summer and Winter Olympic Games. After all, its regime stood in stark contrast to the ideals depicted by the IOC and its symbols. I guess appearances can sometimes be deceptive. So, given the image promoted by the IOC and the juxtaposition of its decision-making, it is worth questioning what the Olympics are truly about. Is it about an official motto, the emblem, or the carefully crafted image of unity and inclusivity? Or is it perhaps something more? Something human, focused on people, their stories, their struggles, and their moments of triumph, especially when faced with adversity. What follows is a story that invites you to reflect and draw your own conclusions about the true spirit of the Olympic Games. This is the Winter Olympic series, and this is the Sporting Almanac podcast. Episode 2 of the Winter Olympic series.
If episode 1 was good, this one is scandalous, controversial,
Nazi Germany,
historical.
I mean, where do we begin? Maybe 2 footing the IOC?
I mean, go for it. You go for it.
Oh, I mean, they're just like...
Let Nazi Germany host the Olympics in 1936.
Look, let's put it this way. The context is the details will reveal everything you need to know about the IOC, I think. Like, the next games in 1940 were due to be hosted in Japan.
Okay. This is the same Japan who had just invaded China.
Yeah.
Okay.
Japan in Sapporo, and the Summer Games were to be hosted in Tokyo. The 1936 Summer Games were obviously famously in Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
The Winter Olympics were hosted, obviously, in Garmisch-Partenkirchen.
Ah, yes. I think I've been there.
Oh, have you? Okay.
I think I've been there. I think I went there when I was a kid. That rings a bell. I might be wrong. I'll ask my parents.
You made a joke on the last episode, mate, about how the IOC gave the Olympics to Russia and then FIFA immediately gave the World Cup to them as well. And the IOC on this occasion they were seemingly going hell for the leather to give any major international events to fascists who were determined to destroy virtually every other nationality. Given we alluded to it in the intro here, like, it is completely and utterly contradictory and counter to every principle, every motto, every moral that the IOC claims that these games stood for. It's a joke, mate. It's a joke. They're a joke. They're still a joke. And yeah, everyone talks about 1936.
Let's not leave FIFA out of this.
Let's not. No, of course
Let's not leave FIFA out of this. 1934 FIFA World Cup was held in Italy.
God.
Mussolini's Italy.
Do you know what I mean?
So let's not leave FIFA out of this.
2 peas in a pod, these organisations. And they've been doing it for
I won't make the obvious joke about this summer's World Cup.
But look, the point is they've been doing it for generations and they've been getting away with it, and everyone continues to buy into their absolute garbage. But yeah, the reason we wanted to talk about this episode, or this this games specifically is because, like, obviously everyone talks about 1936 Summer Olympics, and everybody knows the story about Jesse Owens, where he famously won 4 golds in front of Hitler. But it never gets...
For good reason, of course.
Yeah, of course, with good reason. But it just never gets a mention that Adolf also oversaw these Winter Olympics just 6 months earlier, all with the same propaganda in tow, all the same exclusionary policies, all the same racial controversies. And 12 days after the Winter Olympics closed...
I was going to say.
He goes and sends troops to remilitarize the Rhineland, which is obviously the first step on the road to World War II. A territorial violation under the Treaty of Versailles, if anybody is interested in the specifics.
Always.
So, yeah, I mean, I know I've commandeered early on here, mate, so I will hand over to you in a second, but, like, I'm pretty sure...
I'm enjoying it.
That the Nazi Party only accepted winter sports because Mussolini, who they were chums with, promoted skiing, and because stylish skiing basically looked Aryan and was good propaganda.
It's propaganda.
Yeah.
It looks good on posters.
Yeah.
Like, you think of attractive, blonde-haired, blue-eyed people standing on top of a mountain. It captures everything the Nazis stood for. It's this sort of, muscular Christianity angle to it, alongside the sort of Germanic, people doing the things that their country gives them and all that. But, I mean, this was a time, obviously, there was anti-Jewish signage everywhere in Germany at this point. So, it's not like anyone was in the dark about the Nazi Party's intentions at this point. A strange thing about this, have you heard of the Olympic salute?
No.
So the Olympic salute is basically the Olympic salute, which is not used today for reasons that will become crystal clear very quickly, features the salute of raising their right arm straight with their fingers closed and their hand pointed towards the air. Does that sound familiar to you?
It sounds, there are parallels that can be drawn. That's wild.
Yeah, the French team used to do this before the Olympics. It was a traditional Olympic thing. In fact, there's a statue somewhere. The Olympics. There's an Olympic statue somewhere of a Roman god probably type figure doing this gesture. The French team used to do it during the opening ceremony, and they got a round of applause from the German fans because they assumed they were hiling Hitler. And another funny aspect to this is 1948 Olympics. The French did it again. They got so badly criticised, they never did it again after that. Incredible.
Maybe
it's bonkers.
Maybe I did Sonia Henny a disservice in the last episode. Maybe she was just doing the Olympic salute after all.
To Hitler. I think you might be giving her a bit too much credit there.
To Hitler at the 1936 games that we're talking about. I'm tongue in cheek.
But yeah, I mean, so the host, as you say, Garmisch-Partenkirchen, it was basically engineered for the occasion. It was 2 sort of small towns which were basically joined together into one municipality in 1935 to basically better organise the games. I mean, what else? Hitler opened the games. It was major propaganda, as you'd expect. They built world-class venues, put a lot of money into it, really wanted to show them off. Sports washing, perhaps you could call it. Have we ever heard that before?
The original sports washing episode, arguably.
Yeah. It was basically used as a dress rehearsal as well. For the summer games,
yeah. Did you
and the
just before you go on, have you ever heard of William L. Shearer?
Why have I heard that name?
Because he's written a complete history on the Third Reich, and at the time was a Berlin correspondent.
That's probably why.
He's an American journalist. I've listened to the audiobook on it. It lasts forever. It's like 60 hours long, but it is so good.
Oh, you've sold it to me already.
But anyway, the reason I bring him up is because he chronicles the sorts of things you're talking about in that complete history. So yeah, mate, carry on.
Thanks for the rec. I will probably download that because I love getting my money's worth. I probably will get myself that one. Yeah, as you say, there was an official Olympic poster designed by a man named Ludwig Holbein. Nazi ideals, as you say, idealized bodies, style, Aryan-coded imagery, everything you could possibly expect. That's the situation we find ourselves in.
Well, people should... I mean, I know it's easy, right? Everyone gets it all right with hindsight. Like, we're all 2020 and all that phrase. The only boycotts going into the 1936 games were from the Austrian and the Swiss, specifically their alpine skiers, because the IOC ruled that ski instructors could not compete in the games because they were considered professionals because they skied for a job even if they weren't downhill skiing for a job.
Mm.
No one had an issue going to these games on like political grounds. Everyone just rocked up happily and knowingly. And if everyone's thinking, oh yeah, but they could have known, how could they have known? This was 15 months after the Anschluss. Germany had already invaded Austria. Like, it's honestly,
it's crazy,
mate. It's bizarre, and as we said, they were controversially and astonishingly given the games. Japan given the 1940 games, and then we never really. I don't know if we found out who was going to do 44. I didn't look into it, but obviously 1940 and 44 were cancelled because the people we're talking about in this episode decided to carry on the trajectory, which everyone was overlooking. The reason that we want to talk about the episode, though, and we've set that up so aggressively, is because there was a Jew competing for Germany during these games. And his story is excellent. And it actually does provoke an interesting moral question about people always love to pretend that they would have been on the right side of history if they had, if they were born in a different era or what have you. And so I think this guy's story is complicated and interesting, and it does provoke thought as to whether or not you think he did the right or wrong thing, which, we're not really actually in a position to judge. It's just an interesting psychological exercise. Do you want to introduce who he is?
Yeah, so his name is Rudi Ball. He was a Jewish man, of course, as we say. He was born in 1911 in Berlin. He had two brothers, and his father was a Jewish textile merchant. I believe his mother, though, was German.
She
if I'm correct in saying.
I think.
As in non-Jewish German, I should say.
Yes, and I think that is a relevant factor as this story progresses.
Yeah, it is indeed. Big ice hockey family. All his brothers played ice hockey as well. All of them, between them, won the German championship with their local Berliner SC team. All three would also play for Germany, of course. When the Nazi regime took over, all three brothers left. They took up offers to play in Italy and Switzerland to avoid the growing persecution of Jews in their home country, as you would.
Yeah, of course you would, exactly. Rudi Ball himself is an interesting guy, though, like very small.
Indeed.
Only 5'4", but apparently...
Very small.
Apparently absolutely lightning fast on the ice and a very good finisher. The relevant point here as well that people need to understand is that Hitler knew of them.
Of course he did.
They weren't sort of flying under the radar, and I think in the lead up to the games, because they were all in contention to be picked for the German ice hockey side, he said basically playing them inspired Judaism, and it can't possibly be put on in a Reich ruled by National Socialists. So his initial view, perhaps unsurprisingly, was these dudes are not going to play for Germany at the upcoming Olympic Games. And the IOC were aware of this sort of rhetoric. Of course they were, despite, I'm sure, perhaps not being so willing to acknowledge that publicly. They asked for assurances, and the Nazis obviously told them what they needed to hear. That
assurances, Jesus.
Yeah, Jews would be eligible for the national team. The key word there, mate, eligibility.
Yeah.
Whether they're picked or not is an entirely different matter. And Rudi Ball initially was not picked, but he had a friend, didn't he?
He did have a friend, a man named Gustav Jeinecke. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Apologies if I'm not.
No, I think that's spot on, mate. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
I'm a lot better at German than I am at French.
Yeah, Jeinecke though, absolutely hard as nails.
Yeah.
Defender. Very interesting bloke. Also played for Germany at tennis in the Davis Cup.
So good.
He
such a good factoid.
It is a good factoid, isn't it? And we do love those little tangents. He took a pretty bold stance, to be fair to this dude. He essentially said, if you're not picking Rudi Ball, I'm not playing. And the powers that be in the Third Reich realised that was problematic for the hopes and dreams of the German national side in the ice hockey tournament. They didn't really stand much of a chance, effectively, of winning. Two of their best players refused, or one wasn't picked and the other refused to go. And then they were under a bit of pressure from the Americans as well. in respect of the same policy, the exclusionary policy.
Yeah.
So step forth a man who knew a little bit about propaganda in Nazi Germany.
Yeah, Mr. Joseph Goebbels himself intervened.
Yeah. What did he do?
As he did. He basically saw them as a useful exception in order to project fairness, project an image of fairness across the world. Look, we're not so bad. We allowed this Jewish man to play in our ice hockey team. He saw it as a opportunity to use Rudi Ball for their own ends, basically. So, basically, Ball struck a deal.
I was going to say, not the only man who saw an opportunity.
Yeah, and this is the sort of moral conundrum, the first moral conundrum we come across. He struck a deal to say that he would play, but in return, he wanted his family to be safe, essentially, which in the situation in Germany, in the growing...
Well, the regime was...
Where we were heading, yeah.
Yeah, it was in full swing, really.
Yeah.
Maybe not mass exterminations yet, but it was going in one way.
Yeah, so he made the deal, and as a result, his family were allowed to leave after the Olympics, which no doubt, undoubtedly saved many lives.
And spoiler alert, they did uphold that bargain.
Yeah.
His family was allowed to leave. But when the Olympics started, despite that quote earlier that all Jews were eligible, Rudi Ball was the only Jew in the entire German Winter Olympic athletes contingent.
No doubt mentioned many, many times in the propaganda in order to project that point to the world.
For sure. But the game started, and Germany played the USA in their opening game. They were beaten 1-0, but then they played Italy, of all teams, with Rudolf Hess and Joseph Goebbels in attendance, which I'm sure wasn't at all intimidating.
Jesus.
And they won 3-0. The irony here, I say irony, I don't know if it's ironic. Actually, it's probably the wrong word, but Ball scored, and it was never reported on in the German press as to whether Goebbels and Hess celebrated his goal. Which
I'd have a bet on that.
Yeah. And then they played Switzerland in their third game, and Ball scored again.
Nice.
And if anybody knows anything about ice hockey in the Olympics, you basically have 2 group stages. And then the winner of the second group is the gold medalist. So actually only one team who gets through to the second group stage doesn't medal. But that meant that Germany progressed to the second group stage. But during a routine win over Hungary, Rudi Ball was injured. Not so severely that he was out of the tournament, but he was injured. And who did they come up against next?
Well, they came across one of the powerhouses of ice hockey over the years. I think you'll agree. There is few teams who can outdo the United Kingdom at ice hockey.
The boys!
Yeah, if anyone doesn't know about ice hockey, that is a lie. That is a terrible lie.
But we were undefeated, mate. We were flying.
But yeah, 1936, though, what could possibly happen?
We had just pulled off what is, and this is going to be controversial for Americans, but, I'm sorry, it's undeniable. We pulled off what is arguably the greatest Olympic ice hockey shock of all time.
How can you say that?
When we beat Canada.
Do you not believe in miracles, Ben?
Mate, Canada came into this tournament with a record of 16 wins and 1 draw at the Olympics. They had outscored their opponents 209-8 and won all previous gold medals. Weirdly, the Germans were supporting us.
Yeah, gotta love an underdog.
Yeah, and against... Well, it was very ironic because they didn't support any underdogs, did they? They very much believed in the superior race. But against all the odds, we won 2-1. But yes,
miracle.
We're playing Germany, and obviously the crowd are very pro-German now.
Yes, that's probably fair enough.
Yeah, but and then towards the end of the first period, I think an official had to fire a gun into the night sky. Because the referee's whistle was being drowned out by the crowd.
That's crazy.
And it was close. Germany GB was really close. Finished 1-1, even though there were 3 periods of overtime.
Wow.
But that led the Germans to their final game of the groups. And do you want to take it from here?
I can do, yeah. Winner takes all game against Canada. Very, very physical Canadian team. The rough style, obviously 5'4" Ball, didn't do him many favours. A lot of fighting as well. There was Goebbels and Hermann Goering this time in the crowd. They had to make announcements asking the crowd to remain calm as all hell threatened to break loose. Canada ended up running out 6-2 winners in the end, so Germany were eliminated.
Yeah. I got it wrong earlier. There were, back at this period, there were 3 group stages. So you had a first group stage, second group stage, third group stage. The third group stage sorted out the medals. I got ahead of myself. They were eliminated in the second round.
Doesn't matter. Either way, they were out.
They came 5th.
They came 5th, which is the second worst position to come at the Olympics.
Yeah. I got ahead of myself though, mate, because there is a little silver lining before we get back to Mr. Ball. We came up against the Canadians again.
This is the United Kingdom.
Yeah. And take a guess what, Canada? Suck it and see. There's another 2-1 win. A last-minute winner.
Save our gracious king. Yeah.
And so we ran out gold medalists, so get some.
I'm loving that because I'm not really that patriotic and I'm probably a Republican, but suck it, Canada.
Yeah, exactly. So
even though he's your king as well.
Yours truly takes home the gold. Canada, they get silver, and Germany come 5th. And so you're sort of probably thinking to yourselves, why the hell are they told this story? Like, Germany come 5th. Well, firstly, it was a Jew competing in the Olympic Games for Germany. But the story doesn't end there, does it, Jack?
No, it doesn't. Ball was interviewed by a Canadian journalist after the Olympics, and when he was asked how he was able to compete for Germany despite the regime's persecution of Jews, he explained that it had helped Jews, and had he refused to have played, it may have done more harm than good. So through his interview, he referred to his fellow Germans and his team as they rather than we throughout that conversation, which is, probably exactly how the regime would have referred to them.
Yeah, and it's
separate.
That's the thing, isn't it? And this is the thing that's really interesting about it. It's like, should he have made the deal? Should he have competed at all? And was his stance thereafter, in the way he sort of recognised the division and spoke publicly in such terms, helpful? And I guess those are the sorts of things we were talking about that make his story just a very complex one, because I don't know what I'd have done.
It's difficult because you are essentially acting as a propaganda tool for the regime.
Yeah.
That is something that can be acknowledged, but also you are fulfilling what is presumably a lifelong ambition to play at the Olympic Games, to play with your teammates. And there's no doubt he deserved to be there. It's not like he was being placed into the team just as a propaganda tool. In any fair society, him and probably his brothers as well would have been in that squad anyway, and there wouldn't have been any controversy about it, and everyone would probably have been happier and better off as a result. But also, like, had he said no to the deal, I mean, what would have become of him and his family?
Yeah, exactly.
They would have died. I mean, ultimately, statistically speaking, they're far more likely they would have met a horrible end than not. And indeed, I believe he had relatives who did end up dying at the hands of the German machine in the Holocaust.
His auntie was killed in the Holocaust. His mother and father and his brothers were allowed to leave as per the deal. They went to South Africa.
Yeah.
He stayed, and the history books are not clear why. It's suspected, as you were saying, mate, that he was forced.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he played ice hockey basically throughout the war in Germany, Czechoslovakia, and Austria. He survived. Many speculate that what you said at the very beginning of the episode about his mother not being a Jew is what effectively saved him, because he was sort of like justifiable enough to use for propaganda. And I think also he had a very famous, or at least well-known and very beautiful wife, which just meant that the Nazis could sort of like live with the whole thing, really. But yeah, he basically he stayed in Germany and lived there throughout the war. Whilst his family left, save for, obviously, as we've already mentioned, his auntie. But yeah, he eventually did leave. He also joined his family in South Africa after the war ended. And I think he was inducted into I think this story ends quite nicely, actually. I think he's just inducted into the International Ice Hockey Federation's Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
In 2004.
Interesting, just to go back to Gustav Jeinecke as well. He was inducted in 1998 as well into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, that is that's
cool.
Yeah, that's a nice little ending to it, really. I mean, he died age 64, sometime in like the 80s or late 70s. But yeah, like I guess just a sort of a tale of resilience and intrigue and complexity and heartbreak and to a certain degree, triumph.
As much as anything, it sucks that we have to sit here and say, was he right or was he wrong for doing what he did? Because in any, as we say, in any normal society, there wouldn't have been a question. The best 6 players would have been on the ice at any time. The best 20-odd players would have been in the squad. It's not his fault that we're sat here questioning, and I'm sure in that situation, if I had a choice saving my family, and as a result of that, I'd get some criticism, then yeah, probably get them on the ship as soon as I could. And it turned out, of course, to be the correct decision, sadly.
Yeah, but look, now that the episode's come to an end, let's just level with everyone. We're not really trying to educate you on the complexities of the Nazi regime. We just wanted to squeeze in a way of telling you that the UK won the gold and dispatched Canada.
It's coming home, Ben.
In the greatest ice hockey upset ever. Let's leave you with that. Let's leave you with that until episode 3.
I can't think of a single upset that even comes close, Ben, quite frankly. So what's next? What are we talking about next?
Episode 3 is going to be on the miracle on ice. Ice hockey.
The so-called miracle on ice.
1980. The so-called. Yeah. Like just American hyperbole. Didn't even read the history books. But no, it is an awesome story. It is ice hockey again. We make no apologies for that because we will be moving on to other sports after episode 3. But you can't do the Winter Olympics and not talk about the miracle on ice. So that's next.
Nor would I want to. I'm very excited about this next episode.
Yep, you're going to be taking the lead as well because you love it. So see you then.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for our Winter Olympics series. If you enjoyed what you've heard, please tell a friend about it. We'll be covering everything from speed skating to snowboarding, from ice hockey to figure skating, and much more. There really is something for everyone. Once you've done that, please give us a like, a subscribe, a share or a comment, and tune in for the rest of the series or for one of our 40-odd other episodes on the sporting world as well. Our theme tune is Oh Yeah by Harmonia Productions. You find us on Blue Sky and Instagram at The Sporting Almanac. Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoy the games as much as we certainly will. From both of us, goodbye for now.